Okay, so I'm going to go through and show you how I start my dragon scale tumblers. I have one that's currently drying with the Mod Podge right now, and I'm just going to show you how I started it. I've done these a couple different times now, and the thing that always works best is when you start at the bottom and work your way to the top of the cup. And yeah, you get these little guys here, but we trim those up later. And it doesn't really matter about prepping the cup and stuff because you're just going to slather these things on there. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do these today. Pretty much I cut a whole bunch of scales in advance. I have another mat full of scales right now that I need to scrape. And so I just have my dish of Mod Podge ready and my scales ready. And you just pretty much start out by doing a ring at the bottom of your cup. Now this is a different cup. I've never worked with this style before. It's one for my kiddo for school. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know, it's kind of got more of a curve. But literally I just start by putting Mod Podge on like a nice good thick layer. Because you're going to kind of want to work this like as a circle. Like you're going to want to start at one place and work your way around. And because this is a dragon scale tumbler, I'm going to just start out with it hanging off the edge like that really bad because of this little lip here. Just because I don't know how else to transition into that. I don't want to like do it upside down or anything. But pretty much the first couple scales are going to be your biggest pain in the butt because they're not going to want to stick right. Your Mod Podge is going to dry on you while you're working. So that's why it's good to just have a dish in front of you and just keep dipping and painting. The only thing that I want to warn you about is just be mindful of your brush strokes once you're putting your Mod Podge on top of your scales, because if you paint in the opposite direction of your scales in which they're going, it'll show up. I mean, it's kind of like one of those perfectionist things that I do, that I try to make everything go with the grain. And again, my Mod Podge dried on this edge, so we gotta go ahead and go back in. But what I do is when I go back in, I'll overlap the ones that I just started. So, because what's gonna happen is these guys are gonna start to curl on you. And so you're just gonna kind of take your Mod Podge over them. Because I have so much hanging off the edge, I'm not gonna go over that area until I have more scales to help support it, because otherwise they'll just pop right off right now. And that's just frustrating. So, I'm honestly not even sure what kind of cup this is going to be yet, besides obviously a scale cup. And so pretty much that's it. You're going to want to have some good music because it's going to take you forever, but the end result is super worth it. For scale cups and stuff like that, I usually do an upcharge just because they take so much time. So I usually charge like an extra $10. The part that you do after the Mod Podge dries is probably one of my favorites because you spray paint it black. And then I used to mix my mica powder in with the epoxy and put it on the scales, but I have since started to brush dry mica powder onto the scales when they're still tacky with the spray paint. So that's pretty cool to see, like just kind of how your different micas look on a black base kind of thing, because you want to put like a color shift or something like that one. If you don't have any micas or color shifts or anything like that, you can get this spray paint from like Hobby Lobby or AC Moore or Michael's in the craft like car painting section, like the model car section. They have these color shift little spray paint cans, but they're like literally only like that big and they're like $8. I'll show you a couple that I have, but I've burnt through so many of those and I'm like, I'm over it, let's just use micas. So we're almost done with our first round and it takes forever. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep working. And if you need to set it down, I have these things that I got from Dollar Tree a while ago, and now I can't find them at Dollar Tree anymore. So maybe your Dollar Tree still has them, but they work great for your PVC pipes to just set them in there and dry. And we're almost done this round, and then we have to keep going. But like I said, just have a whole bunch of scales cut in advance. Have all your supplies here and get yourself some good tunes. I'm going to go ahead and stop videoing because this is really boring, and I'll give you an update soon. Okay, so I've gotten my cup to this point, and I'm down to like this many scales left, so it's time to scrape the mat. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so this is the remnants of my last scale cut. And you need to watch your machine because my machine likes to jack stuff up sometimes. And some of these just didn't cut very well. So pretty much all I did was I took an image from Google and then I like duplicated it a couple times and then just attached it all together. But I mean, this is kind of cool. I wish that I could use it for something. I think I might have tried to try and like spray paint as a stencil or something before, but it don't really work. So this is what happens when you take it off of your mat. I just use black cardstock, but then it like sticks to your mat. And like I said, my machine got a little bit jacked when I did this round. And so pretty much you got it to this point. I'll pop these out later, even though, actually no, there's nothing there because my machine was like eating it, so I stopped it. Anyhow, you take your scraper, and this is the easiest way I've found so far. I'm sure there's a better way. I've tried those like spatula things that come in your Cricut kits. I'm not really sure what the purpose of those are, but I scrape and collect all my scales and try and get these little pieces that have the edges on them, get those off so it's not going to mess with you later. And just keep scraping until they're all off, and then you're good to go. I would suggest making them a little bit bigger than what I did because it takes forever the smaller they are. So, but at the same time, the smaller they are, the cooler it looks when you get to the next round of adding in the spray paint and mica part. So this one's almost dry enough that I can trim these edges. Once I trim the edges, I'll go over this top rim with Mod Podge again, and then once that all dries, then I can spray paint and mica. So I am once again not going to bore you with my disastrous messes, and I'm going to just keep plugging through to get to the next round. I'm currently working on a dragon scale tumbler, and how I apply my micas is I just take a brush, and when the spray paint is still tacky, I just brush it on just like this, and it kind of gives the color shift effect. I'm currently working with Poison from Woody's Goodies. You want to make sure that your brush marks go in the same direction just because, like I said, your spray paint should still be tacky, so you want to go with the grain of the dragon scales. You gotta work quick though, because depending on your spray paint, it might dry quicker. And that's how I apply my epoxy, or my mica powders, because I used to add it to my epoxy and it would get too clumpy and like you wouldn't be able to see the dragon scales so much. So this is just what I do so that you can still see the definition in the scales. And it's pretty simple. This technique can be used pretty much on a plain cup. You just spray paint it and then brush your micas on. And that's pretty much it. You could do this with the mermaid scales, if you do the 3D of those. But super simple, and it doesn't take much. And that's pretty much it.